What's good, Washington Commander fans? All right, I'm back at you with another one. Um, I'm probably going to drop it. This is going to go by pretty fast here. Today's topic, we're going to talk about Williams and Jayden Daniels not attending the NFL Combine. Well, not throwing at the NFL Combine, but they will be attending the Combine, just not throwing at the Combine. They will. And then I want to pose a question for the Washington Commanders. Should the Washington Commanders pursue Russell Wilson again if he becomes a free agent? Now, there's speculation on that, but I'll get to it right after this. All right. So, top prospects, Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams are expected to attend the Scouting Combine in Indianapolis this week for interviews and meetings, but neither plans to participate in throwing drills. The NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported this on Sunday, which this did came out yesterday on Sunday. Williams and Daniels both potential top picks in the upcoming draft, which Caleb Williams projected to go number 1 with the Chicago Bears, and Jayden Daniels along with Drake May are potentially 2 and 3 respectively in the NFL draft. Chicago Bears hold the number 1 pick. The Washington Commanders hold the number 2 pick. So, and they could have the choices between the Commanders can have the choices between Daniels or Drake May. Now, there's no word on Drake May if he's planning on attending the Combine, but I do believe they're J.J. McCartney, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix, they will be participating in the throwing drills. Now, you will probably get to see these guys, and this probably will help their stock rise too, because guys won't get to see the other guys. And then this is an opportunity for Drake May to push his stock higher too, since you don't have Daniels or Caleb Williams participating in this Scouting Combine. Now, with this being said, that USC's Pro Day is March 20th, where Caleb Williams will be attending that to show off his throwing ability there. And then Jayden Daniels, his won't be until March 27th, 7 days later. So that would give Caleb. Actually, that would do Jayden Daniels a lot of good, because then he get to see everybody, sits back and see everybody. It's almost like kind of like being in the transfer portal in college, where you just sit back and say, okay, what the landscape is, what's the best team to go to. But I think that by him doing that, it's going to help him. And then if he pulls off a great pro day, then he could solidify himself as either. He won't be the number 1 pick, but he could be that solid number 2, and then it makes Washington's job easier. And like I said, you have Bo Nix, J.J. McCartney, and Michael Penix. If they have a phenomenal combine, then guys is going to be looking at them and say, oh, well, we might need to try to move up in the draft to grab one of these guys. They look good. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have to look for the Jayden Daniels or Drake May. So that's why I think. That's why I think that this could be a great. Like I said, this could be the great opportunity for guys like Drake May and Bo Nix and all of them guys. I do sincerely think that Caleb Williams will have a great pro day. I don't think even if he doesn't have a great pro day, I don't think for a second that he won't be going number 1. That's just not regardless. He could, these pro days are just to show where they're at, how much are they going to be able to. I remember when Josh Allen went to his pro day. I remember watching Desmond Ritter, Sam Howell, and all of them at their pro day. And guys skip pro days all the time. There's a lot of guys that have skipped pro days, so it's nothing to be. I'm not pro day, but the combine. It's nothing really to, I guess, get all in a tizzy about and say, oh well, these guys ain't throwing at the combine. We can't see what they really look like and all of this stuff. But I think it's an opportunity for other guys to step up, though. That's what I think. It was. I mean, when Kenny Pickett and Desmond Ridder and Sam Howell came out, I mean, they pro days was okay. It wasn't to me wasn't the best, but Desmond and Kenny still went number one. I mean, winning the first round. You know what I'm saying? And then Sam went in the fifth round. But if you look at that draft class now, I mean, how are these quarterbacks are any good? You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's just, to me, I think it's the personnel for these quarterbacks. I can't say these quarterbacks ain't good, because I mean, some of us in the Washington Commander community wanted Desmond Ridder. You know what I'm saying? Including myself. I just think it's the personnel, and you got to have the right personnel to bring along with these quarterbacks. And I think Atlanta could be in a good Seattle, also Atlanta, Seattle, and who else? Patriots, Minnesota. Everybody's looking for a quarterback in this draft. So you might see some of these quarterbacks go early. You might see J.J. McCartney. You might see Bo Nix go in the first round. You know what I'm saying? You might see Michael Penix go in the first round. You might see 5 quarterbacks go in the first round this year. Like I said, you might see these quarterbacks go in the first round. 5 quarterbacks go in the first round. So that makes it even more, I think, kind of like really good. To me, I feel like it can help. It can help these guys. It can help them a little bit. Where they'll be able to get in the right system, because teams gonna be moving up. There's speculation that the Commanders can move down now in the draft. That's what everybody's having them, thinking that they can move down to get more picks, to get offensive linemen. I mean, it's not far-fetched. You know what I'm saying? It's not far-fetched. But right now, these 2 guys is not throwing. So, I mean, I'm not expecting any more from that. I mean, it's what it is. But if you think about it, there is little to gain by a top quarterback prospect running drills in an unfamiliar territory or a combine. So Williams and Daniels sitting out these workouts scheduled for March 2nd comes a little surprising. One-time All-American and a 2022 Heisman Trophy winner. Williams has a tremendous college career. Like I said, he spent 1 year at Oklahoma before transferring. We already know that. So, and same thing with Jayden Daniels. He was at Arizona State till he transferred to LSU and had that breakout season and won the Heisman Trophy. So it's not uncommon. But like I said, J.J. McCartney, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix are planning to throw. So these 3 names are there. So I mean, if you think about it, Drake May might not even throw. So you got 3 of the top quarterbacks, May, Williams, and Daniels might not throw. And you got the other tier of quarterbacks, McCartney, Nix, and Penix Jr., that are going to throw. So, I mean, take it for what you work, take it for what it's worth. But I don't think that it's going to really matter because these teams are locked in on these guys. These teams are locked in on them and want them. Now, moving on to my next topic, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is set to be a free agent. Now, with that being said, he is going to be due some money. Now Russell still wants to play. He wants to play. He wants to win 2 more titles. Now, the Washington Commanders a couple of years ago did pursue Russell Wilson in a trade, but he went to Denver. And that's the year, we drafted Sam Howell that year. And we got Carson Wentz in that situation. Now, Russell is 35 years old. Could the Commanders pursue him? Could the Commanders say, hey, let's try to build our offense? I mean, if you look at it, the Commanders in a better position than they have been. Now, you're going to have teams like probably the Rams. Well, the Rams still got Stafford over there. You probably have teams like Atlanta going to try to pursue him. The Patriots going to try to pursue him. You're going to have Minnesota might want him. You're probably going to have other teams that's going to be looking at him. But what ideally that, Russell is from that area in DC, what makes you say, hey, Washington does this? They get Russell Wilson on a 1 or 2 year deal at the vet minimum. Now, I don't know what the vet minimum is for a quarterback, but say that he is able to. Now him and Sean Payton, there's no love lost with him and Sean Payton. Sean Payton doesn't want Russ. You seen Sean Payton this year yell at Russell Wilson, belittling him. The year before, the teammates was getting at Russ. He was having all this privilege. Now, do you want a guy that like Russell Wilson to come into your locker room and act privileged, or he's going to come in there and say, hey, now Dan Quinn did have Matt Ryan when he went to the Super Bowl, with Atlanta, but even though they lost to the Patriots, could Dan Quinn say, hey, let's look at trying to get Russell Wilson. Let's entertain the thought of bringing Russell Wilson in and say, well, hey, Russ, you want to win 2 more titles? Okay, we're in a position to build this team this year. We could build it and build an offensive line. We got receivers. We could add a little bit more to the team. You know what I'm saying? We could draft a young quarterback to sit behind Russell for about 1 or 2 years. Let Russ try to make that move to try to take the Washington Commanders to the Super Bowl. You have a veteran quarterback that still can get the job done. You know what I'm saying? He might not be how he was back in the day, but he's still very efficient enough to get it done. He still can move out the pocket. He's not going to take sacks a lot. That's a good thing. He also could throw. He could throw the ball. He likes throwing the ball deep. That the ball well for somebody like Terry, Jahan, and all of them boys. You know what I'm saying? Then you got a strong running game. If you re-sign Antonio Gibson. Now, Tony Pollard. Speaking of Tony Pollard, because I did a video and a blog about this started a week ago and a couple of days ago. For what I'm hearing is that Tony Pollard is not going to get the franchise tag, and he is set to hit the open market. Now, imagine if the Commanders was to bring Russell in and Tony Pollard and not start re-sign Antonio Gibson. Now you put your team in a position to contend. You bring in a guy like Russell Wilson and you bring in a guy like Tony Pollard in, and you beefing up that offensive line. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing now you work on the defense. If you that's going to tell me if the Commanders pursue Russell Wilson and Tony Pollard in free agency, this is going to tell me that the Commanders are looking to win right away, not waiting another year or two away to start winning. They're looking to win right away, and Adam Peters is going to do whatever it takes to put this team in the right position to win automatically, especially if they trade back that number 2 pick by acquiring a quarterback like Russell Wilson. Now, I know some of y'all in the Washington Commanders community is going to, I will have an article on this a little bit more in depth on why it would be a good idea, the do's and don'ts in the article. So, but I think that you have to explore the idea, because if you trade back and you get that key lineman, if you trade back with Minnesota and Minnesota gets Jayden Daniels, you know what I'm saying, and say that we get that top tackle, that's a solidified bone person that you can lock up that protect the quarterback instantly and have a great running. Then you go in free agency and add running backs. You sit down and talk to Russell and say, hey, what is going to take to bring you in? You know what I'm saying? Now, he already going to command $39 million by leaving them anyway, so he's going to have money. So what Russ could do is play himself for a contract for 2 years. Then you got to think. So the Washington Commanders' money could be good next year. They can have money next year, and they can say, well, you know what, Russ, we could sign you to another 1-year deal for about $40 million. Boom. Russ probably said, okay, I'll take that. You bring Russ back and add depth, but then you still get to draft then watch them be in a position to draft their quarterback. Now, whether it be J.J. McCartney, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, whoever it is, but you say, hey, we got a quarterback from the future, and we still got a quarterback now that could win. And then guess what's going to happen? You already have your team and position already built. So when the next guy take over, just like how Aaron Rodgers did with Jordan Love, when the next guy take over, your team is already able to win right away. You don't have to take steps and saying you waiting 2 to 3 years for that quarterback to develop. That quarterback going to be ready in 2 years to step in and does what he does. So, me personally, I don't think it's a bad idea, but I can tell you this. Twitter is going to be going crazy because people are going to be mad. They're going to like, oh, well, we got Russ. He washed up. He didn't do well. The team played. They didn't even have a lot of what the Commanders had on their side of the ball last year. Remember, we beat them, but guess what? They jumped all over us, and they literally could have beat us. So Russ played. He threw. So imagine him. If you think about this, Jerry Jeudy was catching passes, and Sutton was all of them was catching passes. Imagine what Russ could do with a Terry McLaurin, with a Jahan Dotson, with a Curtis Samuel if he resigns. You know what I'm saying? What if you keep Jahan De'Ami Brown? What if you draft a Awuzie or somebody from one of them other wide receivers that's going to be in the draft? Somebody like Tez Walker or the dude from Florida State. You're going to have weapons for this quarterback to work with. You're going to easy contend quickly. You're not going to be waiting. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be able to make your mark just like that. And if you build on that going into the following year, you might end up in the Super Bowl. So there's nothing far-fetched. It's just if you could get a guy like Russell Wilson. Now, if you can't, then you just go with your original plan. Draft your quarterback at 2. But if you able to get Russell Wilson on a cheap deal, then you use that number 2 pick as leverage to acquire more picks in the draft, because then you will have 3. You have a first round, and you have Atlanta's second round pick, and you have your own, and you have Chicago's for the trade for Montez Sweat. Then you could use one of them picks to come back into the first round. You could probably give up a second round pick for next year or whatever the case may be and draft a quarterback. So therefore, and then you got to think, then But who knows? You don't want to miss out on quarterback either. So, like I said, the Commanders have so much now to think about, because if they could move back into the draft, it's going to be sweet. It's going to be sweet. But if they do trade back and got a quarterback, or veteran quarterback like Russell Wilson, then guess what? You're going to put yourself in contention. You're going to be, then you got to think, Russell Wilson be the best quarterback in the NFC East, because you got to think, you got Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Philly is a mess. Giants still trying to put their team back together. Washington could be that. Washington could be the Houston Texans or the Green Bay Packers of last year. That's my opinion. So, with that being said, give me your thoughts. Do you think the Commanders should explore or talk to Russell Wilson once free agency starts, once he get released? And also, what are your thoughts about the Combine? Should Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams throw? Should Drake May throw? No word on him not throwing, but if he does, should he? You let me know what your thoughts is on that. But then continue to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell every time I drop a hardcore video. But until then, hey, this your boy LiveWire Sports. God bless and good night.